What's up, YouTube? Sean, the average angler. And today we have an interesting video. I was thinking about what are some must-haves. Must-have, not just for now, but for any time. So think about when you were new to bass fishing. If you knew then what you know now, what would you have bought? What would you tell somebody to buy? That's what I have here, okay? I've got a handful of baits, thinking of the beginner, someone new to the sport of bass fishing. What are some baits that you would recommend that they have to have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 baits here. Obviously, there are tons of other things we could add into this, right? I left out a ton of stuff. I mean, you can spend so much money buying all the stuff that you can use to bass fish. And I did, right? I've got 40 years of buying and collecting tackle. So some of you see my wall and some of my other videos in my garage, and someone asked the other day, how long will it take you to use all those? Who knows? When I retire in a few years, maybe they'll go a lot faster. But anyway, I didn't buy all that stuff overnight. It was years and years and accumulating, and a lot of that stuff still made. And some of them are in my group of things here. Now, for those that don't know, and those that do, I will list baits down in the descriptions, okay? I'll give you several different models to pick from because God knows there are a ton of choices. For every single thing I have here, there are a ton of choices. Now, that said, I tried to keep it on the economical side of things here. Meaning, say a square bill, for instance, right? You can buy a square bill probably for anywhere from $5 to $25. How in the world is somebody supposed to know which one they need? Is the $25 one better? I don't know. KVD won an awful lot of money on a Strike King 1.5 and 2.5, right? It's probably one of the lesser expensive square bills. All right, so let's get into my baits, and I'm going to explain a little why I chose each one. First, the Missle Baits D Bomb. And several of these are going to have multiple purposes, okay? The D Bomb can be fished many different ways. You can drop shot it, you can power shot it, you can free rig it, you can flip it, you can pitch it into cover. And if you're fishing a jig, which believe it or not, is not on my list here, although it should be, you can use it as a trailer, okay? I didn't pick any particular color here. I just grabbed stuff off the wall of stuff that I thought a beginner, if he was going in to buy some stuff, he was gonna have 2 rods. You could do all this stuff with 2 rods, folks. The D Bomb is a great one, okay? Could be a sweet Beaver by Reaction Innovations. Could be the Strike King Rage Bug, which is one of my favorites. Anyway, we go on. Next would be a 6-inch straight tail worm. Again, you can do a lot of different things. This is a 6-inch Robo Fat. It's my preferred 6-inch. I can shaky head with it. I can drop shot with it. I can put it on a Ned head. I could put it on a brass and glass, which some of you young people may not even know what that is. Back in the day, weights were brass, and we'd use a glass bead, and you cast it out, and you just shake it in place. Shake it. Believe it or not, it still works. Fish will come and find it. It's a great technique. Much forgotten. Okay, there we go. Third, tried and true, and this is one of those baits that's been around for a long time. Dating way back to when I first started. Not this particular size, okay, but a Zoom brush hog. This is a green pumpkin. I picked the mid-size brush hog because it kind of covers both ends of the spectrum, right? Carolina rigging, flipping, pitching. You could use it as a jig trailer. You can do all kinds of things, and the fish just love a brush hog. This is what I started with. This is what I started flipping and pitching with. A brush hog and a jig. In my area, brush hog's very, very popular. Great bait. You Carolina rig these two. They work fantastic on a Carolina rig. Flipping, pitching, punching, you name it. All right, that's it for the plastics. Well, sort of. All right, next. Those will cover your water column from as shallow as you want to fish all the way out to as deep as you want to fish. Now, fishing a little shallower with the reaction bait. Something I learned was probably the first thing I ever caught a bass on was a big O crankbait, which was essentially a square bill, okay? Get yourself a couple square bills, a shad pattern and a craw pattern, okay? This is a Booyah. This is a 6 cents crush, 50 silent. So this one, no rattles, okay? All right. There's a ton of square bills out there, as I mentioned. If I was new and suggesting to someone who was new what square bills to get, I would say Strike King. Okay, they're inexpensive, they're effective, they've won a lot of money. And then if you decide you really like it, you can start getting into all the different types. The square bill I fished a lot of was a speed trap, Lure Jensen speed trap, before they changed them. They were thinner. You slapped them on the water to get the grass off. A lot of times your bait broke, but man, did they catch fish. Perfectly chilled Coke Zero, I might add. It's got little icicles inside of it. All right. Next, sticking with the reaction. Well, the rest of these are reaction. A rattle bait. Okay, this is a 2-tap by Strike King. Again, there are a ton of rattle trap style baits out there. Same thing. Get a craw pattern, get a shad pattern. Typical is 1/2 ounce. You can fish these way down deep. You can yo-yo them off the bottom in 20, 25 feet. You can yo-yo them or burn them in 1 foot. Very effective year-round. Everyone should have one. One of the other baits I originally learned to fish was a spinnerbait. This is a Molex, not the most popular brand, very well built. Again, Strike King, there's all kinds of spinnerbaits, way too many for me to narrow down. I will put some down in the description, but these are great for throwing through cover. Wood, docks, laydowns, that kind of stuff. Over grass, on the edges of grass. It mimics a shad or bait fish with those blades spinning. Gold and silver, great combination. Chartreuse, white, just a good all-around spinnerbait. I will list some options in the description. All right, for top water, you gotta have some top water, right? Something. I went with a 105 Choppo. 2 colors I would suggest, black or white. You don't need to get too worried about all the variations, colors. You can do that later as you build your arsenal. Black and white are probably the 2 best colors overall. And my final bait, and my biggest video to date, is what bass will always eat these 2 baits. A little swim bait. Okay? For those of you that are smart enough to get some G-Rat thin swims, you'll thank me later, okay? These things are phenomenal. They swim differently than a Kitech. That said, The Kitech 3.3 on an underspin, is probably one of the best fish catchingest baits you can buy. And if your body of water is grassy, a lot of grass to fish around, and you can't throw an underspin, you can get a flashy swimmer and fish it weedless. Just get the appropriate size hook for whatever size you're fishing. 3.3, 3.8. I say 3.3 because the size is just always going to get bit, right? It's a 3.3 inch swim bait. This is a 4, so it's just a little bit shorter than this. The thing about the G-Rat Thin Swim, whoops, I'm trying to get away on me. It's narrow. Okay, it's narrower, and then it's got this crazy tail, and you can see how that thing bounces around, okay? Now, this has a hook slot, so you can fish it on a flashy swimmer, you can fish it on an underspin. This was one of the hottest baits in one of my big local lakes here in Northern California, Clear Lake, this year in the wintertime. But look, the bass don't stop eating bait fish. They're gonna eat bait fish year round. There's times of year they're gonna be more keyed in on them than others. But any bass worth its weight in gold, when a dumb little bait fish swims in front of him, he's gonna eat it, okay? These are baits I think everybody should have in their arsenal, not just the beginner, but I kind of wanted to make a video to, if someone's new to the sport and he's wondering, geez, man, there's all these baits. I walk into the tackle shop, there's 4,000 different baits on this wall, there's another 10,000 on that wall. I don't know what to get. These are some simple things that get you started. These baits work. They've worked for a long time. The Choppo is newer, the Thin Swim's newer, but look, little swim baits have been around for a long time. Square bills have been around forever. I mean, it seems like I said, back when I started with the Big O crankbait, it was the square bill one that I was throwing. The rattle bait's been around forever, okay? One of the fish catchingest baits there is right here. And then the plastics, okay? The plastics, we all need plastics. Some guys don't like, they're just power fishermen. You can power fish with plastics. Carolina rig is a hell of a way to cover water. Flipping and pitching, picking apart cover. Sean, the Average Angler, thanks for watching the video, guys. If you have questions, leave them in the comments down below. I do get back to everybody, unless you're trolling me, and then I may just ignore your comment, but I don't get many of those. Most of my comments I get back to, I give you the best answer I can. I will leave a list in the description of all kinds of baits to go along with these things that I picked out, different options, okay? I'll list some of the more expensive ones in there. Your budget is your budget. You choose what you like to fish with. Different parts of the country may be a little different, cover, all that kind of stuff. All right. Thanks for watching. Sean, the Average Angler. I think I already said that. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.